So I don't know if that overheated, but I got a longer time this time, so that's nice. But yeah, it could probably do that for a while. And around here, because of the lower altitude and no way that's going on, you know, the higher altitude here that's going on, it would help a little. Maybe close to the 150. I don't know what the fuck. I'm literally trying to avoid doing it. I don't want to do it. Like, this thing is not meant for even like 200 horsepower because the CVT transmission is that garbo. It's just what it is. Like, nah, this is dumb. I'd rather get something from the 70s to 90s as an actual engine and transmission, because like 5 to 6 speeds, and they're overbuilt usually. Much easier to throw power in, just keep the same transmission, honestly. Good diffs, they'll take it. Good, you know what I mean? Like, it's one of the reasons I got that inline 6. I want to get like the 3D printing equivalent, you know, out of the way of like a stainless steel or the aluminum, right? Kind of metal 3D printing, so I can get a crossflow going. Thing is, I have 3 of those inline 6s. There are 2 L24s and an L28. And I'm like, oh yeah, no, I can make that crossflow. Yeah, with both of those, you know, camshafts and you know, those things called, I don't know if you've ever heard of, they're like valves, they're like a poppet T kind of like valve. They're popping, they're T-shaped poppety valves. You know what I mean? But like, hey, you know, there's more than enough valves there. It's there's an EFI, a part of those particular you know, engines I have. Yep. So it's like, oh, I have an inline 4. That's a thing. Yeah. So like, I have enough injectors for all of that to work. I even have a standalone ECU. And I could just go and do that if I get those CAD files. Honestly, I could just slightly modify and just print it. It'd take a lot less than you might expect to do. All you have to do is get it within spec and tolerance. So it's like, oh, if I know that this pop valve is only going to move that much, right? Like, I modified the valve total size. I just have to lap it to get to seal, right? So like, all of that's, and then strength-wise, it's fine. Yeah, stainless steel and aluminum will still be fine. I could honestly get away with heating it up and quenching it and then annealing, right, to get rid of some of the occlusions, and maybe even plate it anyway still. I got the nickel. Right, I can 3D print some little bung holders, right, for each cylinder, you know, hone off the rust and everything, you know, nickel plate onto the iron block, right. It's like, no, I can make that. It's a 5-speed, it's an automatic, I have an automatic, I just got to get a rear diff, you know what I mean. But I like, the thing is, I'm like, hey, if I get a torque tube transfer box, basically, that would make it a lot easier to run a, you know, with the front wheel drive. I can still rip this fucking, you know, diff off. Not really as easy. I don't have a lift or anything for any of that, you know, but it's doable. It really wouldn't be as impossible as some people try and make it out to be, because I want most of the power sent to the rear anyways. To me, that's gearing. You know what I mean? It's like one diff, one side is a slightly different gear attached, and then just fucking send it. You know what I mean? That's all you gotta do. So it's like, nah, I just have it all-wheel drive constantly. I don't want it selectable. Fuck that shit. That shit sucks. It basically makes no difference on your gas mileage range, and it's another part to fail. I don't know what the fuck Mitsubishi was thinking about that, with that, you know, for this year model make. It doesn't make any sense. You know, it's pretty stupid. silly. But like, hey, you know what? A crossflow, and then like instead of going a certain route, I'd be able to make myself get away with like some of those natural aspirations for a bit. A little ram air, right? That kind of much easier, I think, kind of thing. Hopefully. The problem is I actually do know enough about that to do that. Successfully, for what it's worth. It's really not that hard. It's just volumetric. It's so timing. So like at this RPM, this amount of pressure, and then this is your volumetric flow, total CFM per each port, or cubic meters, a second, that kind of thing. And so like, total valve lift is then what you get for total directionality. So like you get a compressor, and then like you measure, so okay, do your thing, yeah. That's your mass now. It's going to measure how much it changes at different RPMs as you rotate it with an electric motor. Given volume, plunger go burr down, kind of thing, basically. You can do pretty easy, actually, to measure your mass per cylinder. So there's that. Just seal it off on a manifold. Allow for it to go from the one thing to the time off of that. Divide by the number of ports you have at that RPM. This is your total mass. This is how fast it can flow through. What it's worth for any of these at this speed. Pressure. That's your mass now. So there's that. Are you skill issue having? I feel like you might be skill issue having over here, trying to think that was going to be hard somehow. Convenience is the real name of the game. I'm going to know someone else that's just flow tested. I could just use a simulation on like Onshape or other, you know what I mean? Like, and that'll give me like a close rough estimate, right? Like, and from there I just need, my injector go burr this long, this many times, and in like a second, you know what I mean? Like this CC timing, so it means this amount. This is the total amount of grammage, And it's like, so this is around the degree, blah, 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 and so forth, is rotating, blah, blah. Really fucking pretty simple, actually. Like, not that hard. It's when you want to get closer to, like, max. That's when you go to a tuner. There's be just a pretty good baseline tune. From there, you can probably get better from that point. Especially with, like, if you start measuring your pressure and air temperature on the way in to your manifold, and then in your manifold, you can make those two values equal as an analog, right? And so that becomes an average of the two. Now that average of the two is really, really important. Mostly as a direct result of like, hey, so this is what you really are likely getting while you're going this speed and at this RPM. So you can adjust it to like about this amount of grams per each, CC injector with your 10. So that'll work pretty easily and simply. You just gotta time that, since you already know degrees of like timing. You know what I mean? A single cylinder, and what are we talking like? Guess it's not 720 or 360. Is it? Which one is it for a single cylinder? It's 720 total degrees rotation for 4 strokes total, right? So it's, say 180 goes down to bottom, another N80, so it's close to 360 for a single cylinder. It's a little bit before, I imagine, like a 355, 350, some amount of timing, might be there. What do I know, though? You know, I'm just some regular schmuck. It's so hard to do this. It's really hard concepts to understand. Yeah, this thing and my tongue is still there. It's like that sometimes, you know. It's a good contrast to the red glasses, you know. It's a whole thing. But yeah, no, I'm like, oh yeah, no, that's just what that is, right? So you just need to do each cylinder, time it off of that, you know, rotation. So it's like blah 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 blah. 720 over here really is what this is. You know, but then like this is your camshaft, so it's like camshaft phasing, you know, because parallel, blah blah, right? So it's like, all right, but like, you know, then you just do it this way. So you just wait for this long. You know, like this one will be the one that fires. This one's already exhausting over there. This one's the new intake. You know, it's the hotness. Like we're getting it about to compress up in this bitch. You know, really getting down on the heavy style. You know, dense, together, mixing. You know I'm gonna giggle about this. It's pretty simple stuff though, right? We want a homogeneous, not a heterogeneous mix. So like, yeah, spray them a little bit before those valves open. If you want to clean off the valves, you can wait, you know, for like lower RPM scavenge effects if you wanted to, right? Or you can just like basically, you know, have it kind of float on top of your valve for a little bit. Basically because you close off your exhaust valve a little bit faster, right? But that keeps a little bit of exhaust in there. That's like, that's not a bad thing if you're at a higher altitude with natural aspiration on lower, you know, RPM. It's like, well, I'm about to flood it, you know, my fucking valve, right? So it's like high speed, high velocity air starts coming in, right? Because it's like, oh, I'm not open yet, so I'm like pretty, like only slightly open. So it's like, you know what that means? Higher velocity, right? So it mixes better. So it's like, oh, okay, and that'll cool down your cylinder a lot better too, especially at the top end. So you have to wait till you get to lower than atmospheric pressure. So there's a timing to that exhaust being, you know, closed. How early, right? And then like how late do you wait for your timing for your intake? Yeah. But that gives you a higher braking effective pressure, right? That exhaust staying inside cools off, and you still get all your air and fuel, basically, you know, as best you can. And then from there, like, hey, you know, there's still exhaust in there. You know what I mean? Right? And it's like, you know, this is, oh, right, you probably don't know this. So here's mass, and it's moving. It's called air. It tends to do that kind of thing pretty nicely, actually. Interesting problem for people thinking that air does not have mass as it continues moving in a certain direction. Sort of the whole point of scavenging, last I checked, right? So it's you know, it's an interesting thing, especially when, like, you know, there's this resonance in your manifold and you're ramming air in, increasing the pressure in that manifold, right? I wonder if I could 3D print like a tapering flat piece, you know, with some fiberglass on it. It's like a reedy like kind of thing, certain stiffness, certain angle. Really prevents a large amount of this other gas from inside escaping, unless it's at the right pressure, or something like that. What do I know, though? You know? It's hard to do this. It's very hard. Somehow this is going to be difficult. You know what's pretty funny though? I got a duration thing going. You know, I talked about this in some of my other videos. It's it's like, hey, you know, like a cat's eye bucket, right? Yeah. It's like if you keep it at a tilted angle, it can change wind, right? Like it engages with your camshaft if you rotate it. You know, I've got an engine in this one right now. It's got 2 VVTs. So same thing with this other one that I have, which is for Honda Accord inline 4. So there's that. It needs a valve job. It's like, I like this inline 6. You know, it's got forged connection rods. It's got a forged crank. It's inline 6. 2.8 liters. Fits in this thing. I own them already. I have a transmission. I have 2 transmissions for any one of them I decide to use. I'm going to use the 2.8 liter. No, 28, because, like, why not, right? Yeah. But, like, hey, right? Is it terrible? No. Dumb fucker. It's not. It's a good idea to do it. You know it. You know it's a good idea to go with a built L28. Look at this fucker. Oh, what is this? Oh, I've got a fucking straight 6. I can't fucking figure out timing. It's going to be hard somehow to look at rotation of things. Oh, valve go down this way? Fuck off. Look, the point is, though, I need new piston heads for it. Most likely, because I want to go to higher. I don't need to. First, what am I doing? This thing would be ridiculously overpowered for this vehicle I have. Like a fucking Ram here, straight 6. I get fucking VVD, VVL, and VVT. I basically have Koenigsegg free valve like action. You know what I mean? Like shit. You know? Actually kind of do, yeah. But I only get a plus or minus to play with. That's so much, right? Like, that's analog. So it's like these are little bell curves that I can kind of move and shift around and kind of hit one single point of focus. Kind of like diffraction blends, you know what I mean? With the right mirrors along the side that then can capture at different distances that in a constructive interference model and then come out with a clear image on the other side. You kind of like that. Now, for anyone that doesn't know any of those things, we're not going to use that because, of course, you probably don't. A pressure wave goes through 2 boats because a boat drove in no way. It floated and all that kind of saily shit on by. Right? Now, as cool as that is, it's like, oh, look at this wake. It comes out and it goes, boom, 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 boom. Right? It's like, well, no, I know about that. No, I know you know. This is how you fucking look. Every fucking damn, I just have to put them in the right order, and then all the fucking waves come over and just, fuck you, yep. Yeah, the waves go correctly. Yeah, just take a look at some weird graph out there, and then you'll just know somehow. Right, which of course it's like, no, but still, like, yeah, you know, we're kind of like rammier, and, you know, so it's just what it is. Now, to lower fucking, you know, speed, it's not that bad. We're talking like 5 miles an hour. It's still going to be more than like 1 atmosphere, or at least close to it. But the point is like, you have to go to 1 atmosphere. That's kind of what that is, right? But that just means timing to this duration of down. Right, so it's like, what is that degree to you? Because like that changes. You know, if you got the straight, you know, inline crank, or you got the offset crank, you know, then you got like different setups for offset connection rod connections, and then, you know, piston head and wrist pin area changes, and you end up getting into slants too. There's actually quite a few things there that kind of get in the way of what you might think that to be degrees of timing wise. Each degree is not equal towards the end, so getting close to 180 or getting close to 360 or any of that, right? Like, it changes those timings, you know, very quickly moves over, right? And that goes down very quickly. And so one little degree is quicker than you might expect. So, that's why it looks on a graph, like a circle, that if you were to roll it out, it actually looks like there's more teeth and more distance between these areas at these points in the circle. Right? But, that's just because it's how it behaves during its rotation. So, that's kind of what that is. 2 pivoting points, right? It's an inline. It tends to do things like that. It's a bit weird. How things sliding changes the geometry of things. The lines move quicker. Anyways, you should know that already, though. But okay, not building an engine off of whimsy and fantasy, are we? There are real physics and engineering things here. You know that, right? Fucking dumb. You don't need to have 2 cam. No, I can do whatever the fuck I want. I got more than enough camshafts, bitch. I don't give a shit about you. Whatever the fuck you say is wrong. I can do that. I can print it out to have 2 fucking. I don't have to deal with you. I can just do that. And that's the truth. You are objectively false. As an entity of something that might think this way. However that is. You're just wrong. We call that factually incorrect 100% in all ways on this given subject. That's what wrong means. Incorrect means, they gave you a shot, you're not wrong in everything, all that stuff. That's you, wrong persons. Doing stupid wrong things. Like trying to challenge me before you know anything about any of the rest of it. I'm not gonna look up your other videos. I don't need. You need to tell me right now. Fucking shut the hell up. I don't. But gargle my piss while you're at it too. I don't give a fuck. Bitch, I'll ask you for your opinion when I ask you for it. Shut up until then. Jesus Christ. Fucking lordy live. But what it is. He's not very lordy and he's not live. No, I'm just thinking about it. I'm like, piston head. I don't want to really print them. I don't really want to do anything with that. I kind of want to just get it working. Literally, that's most of what my whole goal is just get a working running engine. Right, just get a crossflow head that's working running. It takes $15,000 for those online. I'm just going to 3D print that shit. I'm not going to do that fucking shit. $15K? No. Mighty convenient, though. It's like, expect 300 horsepower. I'm like, yeah. Oh, yeah, no, from an L28? Yeah. Crossflow? Oh, yeah. Yeah, easily. Yeah, very easily. It's a straight 6. They were up there in power. And now you just put a little Ram air in there. They regularly, without crossflow, make over 500 horsepower. Just putting a turbo on there and fucking running a fucking carburetor setup, honestly. That works pretty darn well. Carburetor's cool. The air coming in. They just don't work very well during the winter around here. Fuel, it's just not going to warm up. That's what it is. Right, that's why we like port injection. So a carburetor port injection would probably be a little better, a little safer for me because I can get away with smaller injectors like I have and then make up the difference with a carburetor. And I've honestly been thinking about this. I don't have a differential. Sure, okay, fine. But I can get a diff. I'll figure out a way to do that. Make this rear-wheel drive. Make this sucker kind of figure out a way to get a transfer box or some shit. I mean it, yeah. I need that all-wheel drive, bro. It just seems kind of silly to make it a rear-wheel drive, right? It's a Mitsubishi Outlander Sport with a straight 6. It reminds me a lot of the Dakar Rally. kind of idea and concept. Like, here's a straight 6. It's basically a 2-seater, tiny little fucking like SUV kind of guy, right? And it's like bank on power, bro. It's like, no, but they didn't really have that much. And I'm like, no, I know. They would now, though. They would these days. Are you kidding me? 300 is what they start off with inline 4s now. Going over to, what's it, their rallies. Those are their rally Evos and so on, yeah. So it's like, no. They would, yeah, and inline 6 with the SUV is not the V8. Oh, no, that's Outlander. V8 for them. No, inline 6, that's what, because it's sport. Okay, this is what it's small. You don't look. It's an SUV. It clearly needs more. This is what it is, yeah. Sedans, no. We can naturally aspirate with the Ram here. You think I can't 3D print the metal necessary? But it's like, no, I can do that with those valves. Oh, absolutely, I could do that. One of them sprays the oil. The other one needs it sprayed. So it's like, fuck you. No, I can do that. I can absolutely make an oil sprayer, like as a mechanical thing for like VVT anyways. I could do that easily, just the same for VVD. Now, because it's at a tilt angle though, that gives me a VVT, right? As it rotates, it engages sooner, sure, but it engages at different points sooner. Or, to put it another way, it's still engaged, it's still sooner, but it's also at a higher point, so it's going to push further. Okay? Yeah. Which, like, yeah, that's the whole fucking point, you know what I mean? I've also gotten to the point of, like, just hydraulic fluid ram valves. This valve stems are fine. I could just fucking do that. Right? Like, solenoid, just fucking move a valve. That's all I get. But I already have the 2 rotating guys. So I'm like, if I could just push them in to move like a valve open. Like, valve open, hydraulic fluid go in, valve close, hydraulic fluid go out. You know, but it goes in this on this side, yeah. So it's like, oh, right, yeah, oh, right. No, that would be like hydraulic fluid ram. Yeah, they're really fast. They can launch fucking like cars into the air. So it's like, no, they can do this just fine. And they're hydraulic fluid, and then they're moving, and so like they can get cooled. So like no matter what, they're like way better than what you think that could be. Sort of a problem for some folks though. Look at me, I'm totally not Destromonic. Bullshit. You said, I mean, yes, I'm not. Fucking CAD file win, I know. Give me the file! You jerk fuck. I can get Destromonic over here. Fucking open whenever I want. Well, no. Within a plus or minus of these given values. Yeah, like this is the max min. So the smallest amount of time, smallest amount of lift, soonest I can get, all that. Right? And like that's the max. Yeah, so you have the min and you have your max, then you have the in-between, and you can kind of move that around a little bit. You can't really do much more mechanically, but that's more than good enough for your RPM band frequency range. You know what I mean? Because it's like, no, you can't really do more than that. Right? You can do all the power. So like all the duration during all of your fucking intake. Yeah. Like you can just do that. You can time that in any guy. Like you can even wait for it to go down and start coming up and have like a little compression wave. It starts to try and then it stalls and then it closes like really fast right there. Right? You know where the valve is. At the head, you know, for that intake. So that way you got your max that you can really reasonably speaking kind of do. Which is nice. I also have my injectors, then I have my piston head valve ideas. Like, I don't know if I want to 3D print my fucking... I mean, these are already, connection rods that are forged, right? Like, do I really want to fuck around with that? Not really. No, not right now. Maybe when I get some knowledge underneath my belt or something, all right? But, like, no, the answer is, like, this works right now. Why would I use something else? This seems fine. You know, it's still a fuck ton of power, right? Like, this is still a lot of power, right? It's a fucking lot to have 300 horsepower in a tiny little vehicle that weighs much less than you might expect at first. That can rev happy just fine, you know, as that is a thing that is very fun to do. But, like, nevertheless, not actually as fun when you suddenly are going all-wheel drive. It's like, nah. I don't really have any experience like that. So I'm like, no, I kind of want to cool it and chill out on that idea. Right? Like, I just want it running and working. I just want it reliable. And that's it. Yeah, like, that's all I want. Like, I just want it to make power that's more than what I have now. And that's the other problem of, like, I got a super turbo. Yeah. No, I know. Yeah, no, I know, because, like, nobody really wants me to get the super turbo. And who's nobody, really? Because, like, it's literally nobody. I haven't told you. So it's literally, it doesn't mean anything to anyone at all in any aspect. But, like, you know, right? Fucking, but I want to do it because it sounds so fucking good.